Welcome to the Sad Crime Channel. Today's story took place in 2006 in the quiet town of Medicine Hat in Alberta, Canada. Mark Richardson, who was born and raised in Sudbury, met Deborah in the late 1980s in Sudbury. They were married in 1991 in Toronto before moving out west. They both loved motorcycle trips, and they tried to approach all life's problems with hope and optimism. Thanks to their hard work on themselves, they finally got back on track. In October 1993, Jasmine, their first child, was born. The family was struggling with significant financial problems during this time. They had to rely on food stamps for free meals. Nevertheless, the marriage never lost hope for an improvement in their situation. 3 years later, when they had somewhat bounced back, their son Jacob was born. Mark and Deborah were good, caring, and nurturing parents. They devoted a lot of time to their children. They stood by them like a rock. They were demanding yet fair. Their home had clear rules, but it also did not lack warmth and love. In 2003, the Richardsons moved to Medicine Hat in the province of Alberta, Canada, where Mark found a well-paying job. After years of hardship, the family could finally afford to buy a house and lead a comfortable, peaceful life. Jasmine was 10 years old at the time and attended a Catholic school. She seemed like an ordinary teenager, excelling in her studies and being part of the swim team. She had a circle of good friends with whom she enjoyed spending her free time. No one had any reservations about her behavior. When the girl reached the age of 11, she encountered significant challenges. Almost from month to month, she went from being a chubby child to a young lady. Jasmine not only changed physically, but her behavior also underwent a dramatic transformation. She often became angry, had mood swings, and was nervous. Trying to somehow control her emotions, she turned her interests towards the Gothic subculture. In a short time, Jasmine changed beyond recognition. She began dressing in black, wearing heavy black makeup and listening to heavy music. All of this did not fit the realities of her Catholic school. Gradually, she became increasingly alienated. The goth subculture emerged in the 1970s. They were characterized by a dark romantic attitude towards the world and a specific approach to love. In their view, this feeling was always associated with suffering. Jasmine didn't have anyone to talk to about her new interests, so she started looking for like-minded souls online. She created accounts on several websites. She always exaggerated her age, choosing dark nicknames such as Madness or Runaway Devil. Finally, Jasmine made contact with two 19-year-old men interested in Gothic culture. Both were unaware of her true age. Under their influence, she delved even deeper into the dark atmospheres. Their enthusiast was also 23-year-old Jeremy Steinke. When he met Jasmine, he was already in a relationship with another woman. However, he left her without hesitation to fully devote himself to his new love. His chosen one was beautiful and seemed incredibly mature. When she agreed to be with him, Jeremy felt as if he had hit the jackpot. Jeremy Steinke came from a dysfunctional family. His mother was drinking a lot. She neglected her son, often sending him to school in dirty clothes, which earned Jeremy the nickname Stinky. He was regularly bullied at school to the point where he was afraid to attend at all. Jeremy, isolated from the normal world, grew up into an immature young man with a tendency towards dark fantasies. For a while, for example, he tried to convince his friends that he was a werewolf. Nobody took Jeremy seriously. Everyone regarded him as a harmless goofball, incapable of aggression. However, Jeremy had one undeniable advantage. He had a driver's license and a stylish car in which he could make an impression in the city. Jasmine and Jeremy's relationship was purely platonic for a long time. The couple exchanged sweet, dark emails and messages on Gothic websites. These texts were childish and exalted. As Jasmine's relationship with Jeremy developed, the situation at the Richardson household became increasingly tense. Jasmine's relationship with her parents deteriorated. They were worried about the significant changes their daughter was undergoing, her alarming choice of outfits, makeup, and song lyrics. One day, Deborah and Mark received an invitation to a company party. Mark attached great importance to it. He wanted to make a good impression on his employer. The Richardsons asked their daughter to look after her younger brother while they were away. Jasmine agreed to her parents' request. However, at some point, she decided that going out with friends for the evening was a better idea. Jacob was left alone at home. Terrified, he informed his parents about everything, and they had to return immediately. Mark and Deborah felt extremely disappointed by Jasmine's attitude. She did not understand what they meant. After all, her brother was fine. As a punishment, the girl was grounded. Unhappy Jasmine felt unfairly punished. She vented her anger on Jacob. He eventually began to fear her. The Richardsons felt they were losing control over their own daughter. They were also concerned about the fact that their daughter was spending more and more time online. Finally, Mark and Deborah decided to check Jasmine's computer. They then learned about the double life their 12-year-old daughter was leading. They were most horrified by the fact that she was maintaining a relationship with a man much older than herself. Jasmine was grounded for good. Her parents banned her from using any electronic devices. Clever Jasmine, however, found a way around this. She used a computer from the school library, to which she had unlimited access. Jasmine increasingly complained to Jeremy about her parents and their parenting methods. She felt trapped. She tried to get her boyfriend to help her in some way, but he did not particularly budge. One night, the couple arranged a secret meeting. Jasmine snuck out of the house to meet her boyfriend. She hoped to solidify their bond and take their friendship to a new level of closeness. Jeremy, who until then had not enjoyed special success with girls, was very happy. Perhaps Jasmine saw the opportunity to strengthen her influence over her partner through deeper emotional connection and intimacy. Since then, she has been expressing more frequently her desire to gain independence from her parents and live life on her own terms. Gradually, Jasmine's emails and messages to Jeremy became increasingly one-dimensional. She often asked her boyfriend if he would go to extreme lengths for her, eagerly awaiting the day when he would prove his loyalty. She argued that it was the only way for them to truly be together. She envisioned them buying a castle in Germany after everything was done and living happily ever after. Initially, deeply in love, Jeremy didn't take his girlfriend's words seriously. He had no desire to kill anyone. He tried to avoid the subject or treat it as harmless fantasizing. However, over time, his attitude changed. More and more often, he confided in his friends that he would rid himself of Deborah and Mark Richardson. Jeremy's words were often brushed off as jokes. After all, everyone knew that he wouldn't harm a fly. On April 22, 2006, Jeremy found himself drunk and under the influence of various substances. As he said himself, he wanted to wind up unconscious that day. In the evening, he was joined by his friends. At night, drunk almost to the point of unconsciousness, Jeremy drove his car up to Jasmine's house. He was determined to fulfill the promise he had made earlier and take action regarding her parents. The way to the house led through the basement window. Noises coming from the basement woke the sleeping Deborah. She rushed downstairs to see what had happened. Jeremy was waiting for her, hidden in the darkness with a screwdriver in his hand. She didn't survive. Mark was next in line. He rushed to his wife's aid but didn't stand a chance. Mark still managed to ask, "Why?" Jeremy replied, "This is what your daughter wished for." Jasmine watched everything while standing at the top of the stairs. Jasmine then remembered that there was still her brother Jacob to take care of. Jeremy was too tired, so Jasmine decided to finish the job herself. She ran to Jacob's bedroom. He was awake and terrified. She unfortunately ended up harming her brother with multiple stab wounds. She later expressed that she felt compelled to end his suffering, believing it would be too cruel to leave him without parents. Afterwards, she cleaned the kitchen utensil and put it back in its place. She then searched her mother's purse and took all the money from it. At this time, Jeremy went outside to calm down a bit. The couple planned to run away together, but Jeremy couldn't handle the pressure. He jumped into his car and headed toward the trailer where he was staying. A confused Jasmine ordered a cab to join him. 2 hours after the tragic events, Jasmine and Jeremy were seen laughing and kissing at a restaurant. They didn't tell anyone about what they had done. They acted completely normal. At one point, they went for a drive with friends to Alberta. They enjoyed each other's company and their newly regained freedom. On April 23, 2006, Garrett, Jacob's friend, knocked on the door of the Richardsons. He wanted to visit his friend, whom he liked very much. When nobody answered, the determined boy decided to approach the back entrance. On the way, he noticed a broken basement window. Unfortunately, he decided to peek inside. The police arrived immediately. They quickly realized that someone had murdered the entire family. It seemed that only one member, 12-year-old Jasmine, survived. However, the girl was nowhere to be found. Perhaps she had spent the night at a friend's house, or maybe she had been kidnapped. The officers requested access to her school locker. They believed its contents would aid them in determining her whereabouts. Instead, they found a note with a hand-drawn plan for the murder of Deborah, Mark, and Jacob. On the note was a figure signed with the name Jeremy. Jeremy and Jasmine were arrested by the police after 36 hours. From the very beginning, Jasmine shifted all the blame onto her partner. She admitted that indeed, she witnessed the tragic incident, but she couldn't do anything. Investigators analyzed the emails and messages exchanged between the couple during their relationship. It unequivocally emerged from them that although Jasmine did not physically kill her parents, she was responsible for their deaths. Despite her blaming Jeremy, soon after the pair's arrest, Jeremy asked Jasmine to marry him in letters from his prison cell, and she agreed. The court concealed the girl's identity from the public opinion, and she herself was not tried as an adult. Nevertheless, she was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder. She received a sentence of 10 years in psychiatric facility, which was the maximum sentence for juveniles. Jeremy received the same verdict, but as an adult he was sentenced to automatic minimum prison term of life with no chance of parole for 25 years. He said he was extremely remorseful, said defense lawyer Alain Hepner, who spoke for Jeremy. If he could take it back, he would, but he just couldn't speak. He actually did say those things. I think it's an apology. I definitely think that's what it is. Jasmine Richardson spent a long time in a psychiatric hospital. She participated in therapeutic sessions. During her time in prison, she expressed remorse and regret for the crime committed. She was released in 2016. Thank you for listening until the end. Until next time, goodbye.